Okay. Part 13 of Who the Fuck Did I Marry? So I've kind of given you guys all the backstory. Let's just kind of recap real quick. So I told you how we met. Met in March of 2020. Basically, Georgia got shut down. I keep saying shut down, got locked down. We decided to quarantine together. I know it was crazy. It was crazy. I really liked him and thought he liked me. So I told you guys how we met. Things moved at a rapid pace. Met in March. Moved in together pretty much end of March, beginning of April. Found out I was pregnant in May. Lost the baby in June. Had to have surgery in July. Started looking for houses. Started looking at cars. All this stuff happened literally between March and in August is when I got my car. So, got a car in August. He paid the down payment for that car, which I was shocked by. And no, it was not a BMW or an Audi. It was a Nissan Altima, but I loved that car at the time. So he paid the down payment for that car. He told me he would help me with the car payment. The biggest mistake that I made, and I'll explain why I say this. The biggest mistake I made was that I signed myself up for a car note, where I knew I needed his help to pay the car note. I knew better. My mom has always taught me, do not ever put yourself in a position where you are financially dependent on a man. And all of that went out the window. And the reason why I say that was the biggest mistake is because when I have pulled back the layers of this whole monstrosity of life that I lived for 2020 and 2021, it really does boil down to the fact that I truly ended up marrying him more out of fear than anything else. And I'll expound upon that later. But I got the car in August, and by this point I was exhausted of looking at cars. I was mad that I didn't get a BMW X5 dark blue with cognac interior. And I was tired of looking at houses, getting my hopes up, looking at a house and picturing myself in the master bedroom, the kitchen, the island, all that stuff. I'm a visual person, and I was tired of getting my hopes up. So now we're going to segue into fall, going into the holidays. Here's what happened. In October, we looked at another house. This house was in Marietta. Absolutely gorgeous. It was gorgeous. I want to say that the house was about $700,000. I really liked the house. I could see myself living there, could see myself cooking there. And so subsequently, my ex-husband put in an all-cash offer on that house. I watched him put an all-cash offer in on the house. Our real estate agent, Scott, called us about 24 hours later, and he said, the sellers love your offer. The offer was an all-cash, full asking price offer. $700,000. Let that sink in for a moment. He said the sellers love the offer. They are asking that you show proof of funds so that they can accept the offer. My ex-husband said, I will show proof of funds when they accept the offer. The seller said, great, we'll accept the offer when you show proof of funds. So basically we got into a standoff. And if you're a real estate agent or you work in real estate, I would love to know your thoughts on this. I had asked people in my personal life, like, Have you ever heard of this before? And I've had plenty of people who said, I side with the ex-husband. I would not show my bank statements until they accepted the offer. And then I had other people who were like, I wouldn't accept an all cash offer unless I verify that the person can pay. So I'm just curious what your thoughts are. Okay. So our real estate agent called us and was like, guys, the sellers are giving you 2 days to show proof of funds. I had the letter that he showed me from Chase. I sent that to Scott, but that was for a mortgage. The offer was for all cash. So he needed to show proof of funds that he had the cash to pay $700,000. He didn't show it. He refused to budge on showing them proof of funds until they accepted the offer because he was afraid that they were going to create a bidding war. So what ended up happening was Scott called us and said, I apologize because I didn't do my due diligence as a realtor. He said, before I ever started showing you guys a house, I should have collected your pre-approval letter and proof of funds. He said, so at this point, my broker has informed me that I cannot show you guys another house until you show at least us, meaning the real estate firm, until you show us proof of funds. And so I'm just like, well, I'm telling my ex-husband, just show them the fucking proof of funds. Like, what's the problem? And so it was a lot of, I find that this is really unprofessional because it's not our fault that you didn't do your job correctly. It got a little ugly and it got uncomfortable because I'm like, I don't understand why you don't show them proof of funds when you clearly just signed a document stating that you're putting an offer in at full asking price. This was the same thing that the realtor was saying. He was like, but you just signed an offer. So what's the problem? Like, you want them to accept the offer and then you'll show everyone the proof of funds? And my ex-husband, without missing a beat, said yes. So Scott did his best to work with the seller and say, look, accept the offer. He'll open the books. He'll show you the proof of funds. These sellers were like, no, that's not. And it wasn't so much the sellers. It was the seller's agent. Big respect to the seller's agent. But the seller's agent was like, no, that's not how we're doing business. He needs to show those proof of funds before I advise my clients to accept his offer, period. If he's not willing to do it, we'll go on to the next offer because they did have another offer on the table for, it was less than asking price, but, they were willing to accept that offer over the all cash offer because those people had basically shown proof. So subsequently, the house fell through. We passed the 2-day deadline. They went with the other offer. Also at this point, our real estate agent, Scott, and I do not blame him for this, pretty much cut all ties because what he, I believe, felt like was, I don't know what's going on, but something's going on. And this is not how I do business. So until you guys are ready to show the proof of funds needed to buy a house, you need to get yourself another agent because we were already about 20 to 25 houses deep by this point. We had already put in 2 other offers. They fell through. And now here we are with this house. And once again, it fell through.